How can you identify your paradigms? If you could change one belief you have that's holding you back, what would that do for your life? Me coming from a blue-collar public servant background, I've had many paradigms that I had to fight through that have held me back. Once I learned how to identify them and shift into a new one, I created the time and the financial freedom I was looking for in my life. And today we dive into how to identify a paradigm, and I'll give you a hint, it's not the limiting belief, but that plays a part in it. And how to shift into a new paradigm, the paradigm of success. Today we're going to explain what a paradigm is and what the best indicator is of your paradigms. Then we're going to drill down on that paradigm and we're going to figure out if it's true and then what we can do to start to shift into a new paradigm. So what is a paradigm? A paradigm is simply a deep-rooted belief that we have that has taken over control of our behaviors. So it happens automatically. It happens from the subconscious. We don't even realize that it's going on. Is a paradigm the same as a limiting belief? No, it's not. Although they're cousins, a limiting belief is a thought that we have that holds us back. I can't do that. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a businessman. That's a limiting belief. It's a thought that pops into our head, but it's tied, when we drill down deeper, it's tied to the actual paradigm. I want you to think about it like this. We've all seen a fish aquarium, and the little treasure box fills up with air, and then that little lid on the treasure box pops open, and when it pops open, the little air bubbles float to the top and burst. Those air bubbles, those are the limiting beliefs. Those are the thoughts that we're having. Those are the things that rise to the surface, and when we're looking at the surface, we now see, well, there's an air bubble there. That's an indicator that there's something deeper down. So how do we get deeper down? How do we drill down on that thought we're having, that limiting belief? We ask ourselves, where is this coming from? Like, what led to that thought? I just had that thought. What led to that thought? Why do I believe that thought? Where's that thought coming from? So for me, I'm not a businessman. That was one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I had. Why aren't I a businessman? Like, what is that? Well, business is bad. Well, that's still a limiting belief. Business is bad. And then I took it another level down, and businesses take advantage of people. Businesses just want to separate people from their money. Boom! I hit my paradigm. And I knew I hit my paradigm because when I started thinking about businesses taking advantage of people and businesses separating people from their money, that their businesses are greedy, I felt it in my core. I actually felt it. When I was thinking I'm not a businessman, it was conscious. I didn't strike a nerve. But when I got down to taking advantage and they're greedy, that struck a nerve. Now I knew that I hit my paradigm. I knew what was preventing me from moving forward. Because I spent 25 years as a cop and a fireman. All I do is help people. I don't want to take advantage of people. I despise the people out there that take advantage. And my paradigm was telling me that businesses were those people. But they're not. So now I hit my paradigm. I drilled down to my paradigm. Now what do? I ask myself, is this true? My paradigm is businesses take advantage of people and businesses are greedy. Is that true? In some instances it is. But a rotten apple doesn't mean the whole cart is rotten, right? You're going to find bad people in every venture you go into. Doesn't mean everybody's like that. So is this paradigm true? do businesses take advantage of people, and are they greedy and just want to separate people from their money? I went out to prove those two things to be true, and I couldn't prove it. In some instances, I did, but in a large swath, I could not prove it. I proved just the opposite, that businesses are there to add value to people's lives. Businesses are there to help people. I have the business of a bookstore. They're there to add value and educate people. I have the business of a grocery store. They put food on people's tables. They help parents provide for their kids. They feed families. Car manufacturers. I can now get back and forth to work in a much better way than if I had to walk or ride a bicycle. So when you look at the big picture, not just one incident, businesses are there to add value to people. Businesses are there to help people. Businesses are there to make life easier and better. Whoa! Imagine looking through that paradigm. Excuse me, that paradigm now. That I can get on board with because I spent 25 years helping people. I can just help people in a different way now. So when I drilled down to the paradigm and I asked, is this true? And then I proved that it wasn't true. The next thing I have to ask is, so what do I really want here? Well, I want to be a business owner. What does that look like? What do they do? So those are the two big questions. What's it look like? What do they do? Because now, for me to make the shift, because now we're starting to make the shift. When I identify what I want, it's the direction I have to move in. I now start taking decisive action in that direction. I have focus in that direction. I'm moving that way, and nothing's going to stop me. Hand grenades are going to go off. I'm going to get thrown off course, but I'm always going to veer back to that compass point. It's kind of like being in an airplane flying from California to New York. The pilot doesn't fly that plane all the time. He puts it on autopilot. Gust of wind comes along, pushes that plane off course. The plane just nudges back on course. Same thing. I have to have faith that it's going to happen. And I have to start thinking about what are those things that a business owner does. For me, it was a preschool. So, to open up a preschool, what are the things you have to do to open up a preschool? What are some of those things? I have to take ads out in the paper. I have to find out what the rules and regulations are. I have to make phone calls. So, you have to start to change your paradigm. You have to start moving in that direction. Because even though I just proved that the paradigm of businesses take advantage of everybody, so now I know that's false, right? But my paradigm hasn't changed yet. It doesn't just change like that. What that gave me was the will to move forward, the will to explore business and become a business owner. Now I have to actually take the steps of a business owner. And when I take those steps, and I repeatedly take those steps, repetition is a big part here. You have to constantly be doing the act. You have to constantly be programming your mind. A paradigm is just a program that was given to your subconscious mind, and now we're reprogramming that program. And the way we do it is that constant exposure. The same way that that paradigm was imprinted on your subconscious through repetition. I didn't hear just once that businesses took advantage of people. I didn't hear that just once. That was a conundrum. Boom, ba-boom. It was like a little tack hammer. that kept hitting me. Ding, 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 and kept sculpting that neural pathway. So now we have to take the repetitions of a business owner so that we can undo that paradigm. Because as we take those repetitions, as we visualize what the end looks like, this is really important. I don't just go out there and say, I want to open a business. I formulate that vision in my mind. I write it out. This is what it's going to look like. I'm going to be helping kids I'm going to be caring for kids as their parents drop them off to go to work. And I'm going to be educating those kids, and I'm going to be playing with those kids. And these are the colors of the walls, and this is the sensory board that we're going to use, and this is the song box we're going to use, and these are the carpets we're going to have. These are the cubbies we're going to have. These are the bins and the toys. You have to really make it emotional. That brings me to the next point. When I achieve this paradigm shift, how's that going to change my life? Well, it's going to change my life immensely. Because now I'm going to start having that time freedom that I was talking about. The business gives me the time freedom. Now, yes, I work more now on the business and with the business than I did in my W-2. But the difference is I work essentially when I say I work. I don't have to ask somebody for time off. If my kid is having an operation, I can make myself available for that because I can do my work at other times during the day, or I can bring my work to the hospital and I can sit with my kid and I can do my work in the hospital while I'm watching my kid. Same thing with the ball games. I remember once I was in the driveway playing basketball with my son and I had to go to work. And he was upset. Dad, we're having such a good time. Do you really have to go to work? Yeah. Now, if that was the preschool, the answer might have been yes. But it might have also been, you know what? Let's throw a couple of more balls. I can do that later. That's the flexibility that I'm talking about. So the way you build your paradigm is through repetition. You have to make it emotional. You have to visualize the end and work backwards. Right now, you're living your future's past. So the decisions and the actions you take now will materialize down the road. Think about when you started driving. You didn't just automatically become a driver. You had to take the actions now, in the present, and then at some point in time down the road, no pun intended, you became a driver. So you have to constantly keep it front of mind. You have to constantly have that focus. And through that repetition, you're going to imprint on your subconscious that this is how things are done. And then you're not going to feel uncomfortable doing them. That's another thing. You're going to feel uncomfortable when you make that paradigm shift. That means you're moving in the right direction. You want to lean into that uncomfortableness. So let's do a real quick recap here. First, you're going to identify your limiting belief. That's those little bubbles that come up from the treasure chest. Those limiting beliefs are going to indicate that there's something deeper. As you drill down and you ask, why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? Where are these thoughts coming from? You're going to drill down layer by layer by layer until you get to that actual belief. That actual belief's the paradigm. Is this true? Is this belief really true? Then you're going to ask yourself, what do I want? What does that look like? And what do they do? What do the people that I want to become, how do their day look? And you're going to start acting as if it was the future already. So I'm going to make that presentation. I am a preschool owner. I am a real estate investor. I own 25 doors over 3 properties. Whatever it may be, you're going to paint that picture. And then you're going to start taking the actions right now so that you can start looking like a real estate investor. Phone call, like whatever it is for you, whatever your want is, what does that look like in the end game? 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, what does it look like? And then you're going to start reverse engineering it back, and you're going to start becoming that person right now. This is how I've broken through my paradigms. I'm not a real estate investor. Are you out of your mind? Now I own real estate property. Now I am a real estate investor. I'm no good with money. Now I am good with money. I can't earn more than $100,000 a year. You can't. Why not? What's preventing you? What's stopping you? It's just your thought. So envision what that looks like. I'm not smart enough to be an accountant. Well, why not? You could study. You've increased your knowledge to this point right now. You can do it. You have the ability. That's how I tackle my paradigms. Identify the limiting belief, drill down on that limiting belief, figure out where that limiting belief is coming from. Is that belief true? What do I want? What does it look like? What do those people that I want to become, what are they presently doing right now? Visualize that, write that out, and become that person now. Start taking those tiny steps towards that individual, and you will change your paradigm. Guys, around here we believe in living in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there today and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you guys. Have a very blessed day.